So is this the last day of quarantine and then you're good to go tomorrow and crack on with your fight preparation for the week? Yeah.
Yep. So we get tomorrow morning, we'll break quarantine, and then we'll start fight week with an extra day. 'Cause usually we get there on Tuesday afternoon or Tuesday night. We get to fight week, check in, but now tomorrow morning will be Monday, so we'll be a day ahead of schedule.
Yeah. And like when we was discussing way back in July, the Holloway fight was one that was probably the most appealing in terms of the stylistic matchup. And we did discuss that because Holloway had just lost to Volkanovski in a questionable decision, really. But we talked about how he
Yeah.
showed some weaknesses to you guys that could be great in preparation for a future fight. That fight is happening now. So in terms of the stylistic matchup, man, how great is this for you guys and Calvin?
I mean, I think this fight has all the energy that a major pay-per-view has, Add in ABC, here in the States, it being broadcast on ABC, that adds another level of buzz to it. But when you talk to, regular fans, they're just like, dude, I can't wait for this fight. This is so exciting. This matchup, two guys with great hands going at it. You got the GOAT and then you get the up and comer. Calvin's got the power, Max got the volume and, the big fight experience, but Calvin's like the next guy. So I think it's just like the anticipation for this fight is unlike anything I've ever been a part of. Like I'm talking like the straight casuals are like going nuts for this one, but then also, the media, they're going nuts for it too, because they're like, wow, we have like either Max is gonna like hush this up and coming contender that everybody thinks could be the next guy, or we're gonna have the next guy. So I think it's a win-win for fans, it's a win-win for the UFC, it's a win-win for ABC, and yeah, I think it's I get a front row seat for it, so it's exciting. And but yeah, that last fight, I think we got to see Max. You can't say that he's losing it or anything like that. He against Volkanovski, you can argue he won that fight, and some people say he's the uncrowned champ. So mad respect to him. He's an OG, and he's got a great team around him. So we're excited to challenge ourselves and be in that huge spotlight, the big moment opportunities, like Calvin likes to say, and go out there and just show the world that Calvin is the top contender and the New England Cartel is the top team.
Does it come at the perfect time for you guys? Because Calvin got to show that he can go 5 rounds at an elite level, and then it comes up against a guy who is known for having that gas tank for 5 rounds. So you both know that you can go the full 25 minutes if it does go that way. And with the type of fight, it's not out the question that it could go the full 25 minutes, is it?
Yeah, no, Calvin's got power, but Max is hard to finish. Max is a crafty vet, so yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody would really be surprised if this went for 25 minutes. So yeah, we're ready. We're prepared. We're ready to go 25 minutes, 25 hard minutes. We're ready to deal with some adversity, but we're also ready to dish out some punishment. So I think this is one of those things that on paper, people are just excited about, like all the different scenarios and stuff like that. So it's one of those things, this is why you fight. You have, we'll see what, how the cards fall, and we'll see how the rounds play out. But I'm just super excited for it.
And it's rare to come across a former champion like Max that is just willing to put his hands down and just throw down without much protection. And that really does play into your guys' game plan as well. When you look at how accurate Calvin is with his shots, how precise he is with his shots as well.
Yeah, but you look at like who he's done that with. I mean, he didn't do that with Jeremy Stevens. He didn't do that with. It wasn't like he did that with anybody that was like taking it to him. He didn't do that with Dustin Poirier.
Yeah.
He did that with guys that he handled for 3 or 4 or 5 rounds and was beating up, and then realized that they didn't have much left, and then kind of put his hands down and played that game. Like, that always brings you back to Ricardo Lamas, at the end of their 3-round fight. And he basically just pointed to the center, put his hands down and swung. But you can't do that with Calvin Kattar.
No.
Yeah, you can't do that with Calvin Kattar. I mean, no one can do that with Calvin Kattar. So, yeah, I know. So it's good. We have a game opponent. We have a guy that's going to come forward. It's going to be, kind of a clash of titans, so to speak. It's the former guy and the next guy, the way I see it, because we're planning on winning. And it's going to be a barn burner, man. I'm excited for these two to just stand toe to toe and go at it.
And personally, for you, massive congratulations on what was a a brilliant year for yourself and for the cartel as well. The way how Rob Font finished the year for you guys, it couldn't have gone any better as well. And see Rob come back from such a serious injury and beat the top third guy, best guy on the planet at bantamweight. It was amazing to see for both yourself and Rob. So congratulations on that.
Thank you. It's we have a small team, but we have a good team. And I keep saying it all of 2020. I kept telling people when they were talking about Calvin, I said, don't sleep on Rob. Rob's coming back. He's stronger than ever. And, he can beat these top guys. And everybody's like, yeah, okay, Tyson, you're an idiot. But, then he comes back and, we got a lot of flack for taking the Moraes fight when we did, saying he needed a tune-up fight and this and that. And, I probably know Rob more than anyone does. And I've been with him since the beginning. And I believe in that kid, more than he probably even understands. And to me, there was no hesitation when they said Marlon Moraes. I'm like, big opportunity. He's dangerous, but so are we. We just have to go out there and get it done. And Rob, proved all the doubters wrong, helped prove me and himself right. More importantly himself. And now he's in that top 5. I said, I think I even might have even been with you. I said, like, Rob was here, he brought Calvin to here, and and now Rob's up here, and then Calvin's going to be up to here. So they just keep jumping each other and then pulling the other one forward, and it's cool to see them feed off each other.
Do you like how the fact that they've gone about their business away from the big spotlight to the point now where they can't be denied? Like, people were never talking about those guys as future world champions. Probably this time last year, Calvin was definitely in the conversation, right? But the position that Rob was in, Rob was inactive, wasn't he, due to the injury? So to have those guys go about the business away from the spotlight to the point where they can't be denied now, and the spotlight is just completely shining on them going into 2021. Like, everyone's talking about the cartel now. How does it feel for you guys to have got to that position, regardless of whether people were on side or not?
It just feels a little bit validating. 3 years ago, a little over 3 years ago, we broke off and started doing our own thing. And there's a lot of doubters. There's a lot of haters. There's a lot of people saying that I wasn't a legitimate head coach, that, they needed these other people in their lives to succeed. And, the kudos is to Rob for putting his belief in me and kind of taking that leap of faith and saying, no, like, I want you to be my head coach. I want you to run my camp. Let's put something together. I believe we can do something special. And, he saw something in me that I think others didn't. And then Calvin joined suit. And, I didn't take that lightly. Both those guys put their faith in me to try to help guide their careers and take it to the next level. And, it was either put up or shut up. I either could say yes or I could say no. And, I was up for the challenge. And, it's, I guess you could say it's pretty, it's flattering that guys that are that good would trust me with that move when I'd never been, anybody else's head coach. And, but, seeing the success they've had, this is something that I felt like we could do. I was confident that we could do it. I was confident that both these guys could win belts. And, there was no like one move or one moment or anything like that like made it possible. It's just a series of, like, number one is like trust, we all trust each other. And then it was just a series of like small decisions that added up, turned into us having a really fascinating camp and a successful camp. And these guys just keep getting better. I'm learning as I go. I'm trying to bring in the right people that can help me grow as a coach, but also help my technical skill set, whether it be with striking or grappling. And I try to ask questions, and I'm trying to constantly make the best moves on and off the mat for me, the team, and the fighters, to just keep winning these fights. So it's been nice to see how 2020 is shaped up, and we're finally starting to get that recognition that I felt we've deserved forever. And then on a whole nother level, I feel like New England is starting to get a little bit respect on the national level. We were kind of a joke region for a while. We were kind of like the gatekeepers of the UFC. Like, yeah, get into the UFC and, you can be tough and you could be a hard out, but you're not like a title type guy, And I feel like now we have that back.
And when you look at Calvin and Rob's position, obviously more so Calvin, when you look at if he is victorious in this one, you've got to be thinking you're really careful in terms of what fight you accept now, because surely that positions you up with a title fight if Calvin's victorious. And then on the flip side with Rob, it's got to be one of the top two guys now after Marlon. Is that the sort of mentality you have, or is it still just as active as possible? What's the mindset with that one?
The balance, you gotta be open to every opportunity and weigh the pros and the cons. Like using that logic, like you got to be very careful, don't fight down. We never would have fought Dan Ige, but if we didn't fight Dan Ige, we wouldn't have the Max fight.
Yeah.
So you got to be very strategic. Sometimes you take calculated risks and you hope they pay off. And I got a lot of crap for taking the Ige fight, because I'd be like, why would you fight the number 11 guy when you're number 6 and you're coming off a big win against Stevens? It's like, well, we don't know what the other opportunity is going to be with this year with COVID. And it was a sure thing. It was a main event and got us a new contract. And I felt like it was a great matchup that, what happened in the fight is what I felt would have happened in the fight. Danig is a tough kid, but I think Calvin's just as tough, but also better. So, looking at Rob, he's kind of in that same position Calvin was before the Ige fight. So for us to just sit here and be like, no, we would never fight down. It's like, yeah, that makes sense on paper. But if they came to us with an opportunity, we liked the matchup. We just weigh it out. It really comes down to, there's no specific formula. It's a gut instinct that you kind of go with based on, the time of the year, what's going on, who else is available, what big fights are coming up. Right now, everybody's booked except TJ. TJ's the only guy, that you could say in the top 10 that's not booked. He's a top 10 guy. Obviously, he just doesn't have a number because he's been suspended. But when TJ comes back, like, we're the only guy that's not booked. So if they're going to book something with TJ soon, we're the guy that makes sense. TJ probably says he wants to come back and get a title shot. I mean, do you deserve a title shot after you just cheated? Probably not, right? And there's not going to be a lot of guys in the top 10 signing up to fight Rob Font after what he just did. He doesn't quite have the name value that a Cody Garbrandt has, right? But he's just as dangerous,
Yeah.
So that always makes it tough to get fights. It was kind of in that Arnold Allen position, or where you're really good, but no one kind of really knows about you. So it's kind of a risky fight to take. There's not a lot of upside. Like, that's what Rob is right now, probably. So that's where someone like TJ, he's coming back from cheating. He's got to step up and he's got to kind of take some lumps. Like, he can't just call his shots. Yeah, he's a former champ, but at the end of the day, like, he did cheat. He admitted to it like a man. So he comes back, he's gonna have to fight the dark horse, in my opinion. He shouldn't come back and be able to just fight for a title after breaking the rules. You come back, you're gonna have to kind of, take a little bit of a risk, and that risk could be having to fight the dark horse like Rob Font. Calvin, yeah, if Calvin wins this, when we win this fight, like, I don't see a situation where you could say that he's not getting a title fight next. Then Calvin said this many times in interviews, all title pass should go through Max Holloway right now, and we're doing that. Ortega is going to get the next shot. I guess that's probably what's happening, and then we would probably get the winner of that. I don't see a scenario where Zabit could form any sort of argument that he should be able to leapfrog us. Momentum's a real thing. You either have it or you don't. It's either working for you or it's working against you. And right now, Zabit has zero momentum. It's working against him. We get this win over Max, but now we've got 3 top 10 wins, including a win against the number 1 guy, with 2 of those wins being main events since we fought, and he hasn't even fought. He just sat idle with a 3-round decision against us where he got the shit kicked out of him in the 3rd round. So he's got zero momentum. His momentum ended in the 2nd round of that fight against us. So I think, I just think it would be hard to argue that we don't get the next title shot.
And then this current series of Fight Island finishes with 2 former big featherweights, Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirer. How do you see that one going? It's a crazy matchup, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a fun fight. They're both extremely talented fighters with great teams. They're both very intelligent and smart on the business side too. They both built a really strong following and a fan base. So I think it's going to be a real fun fight. They're both very different since their last fight. They both, you just look at the physical changes they've made since moving up the weight class. they're both at that point. Obviously Dustin's not making that Conor money, but they're both in different places financially now than they were back then. But yet they're still hungry and they're still improving. So, they're both real fighters, and I'm excited for them to blow the roof off that stadium across the little driveway over here.
Yeah. Are you sticking around for that one, or do you have to go back straight after your fight? You can't stick around.
No, so there's the Wednesday card. So they're keeping us here until after the fights on Wednesday.
Right.
So we'll fight on the 16th, and then on Wednesday night they'll have a fight, and then the next day, Thursday the 21st, we'll all us and everybody on the Wednesday card will fly back.
Okay. And then when you look at that transformation for both of them guys, they're now huge names at lightweight. We're seeing guys like Max Holloway try his hand at lightweight against Dustin Poirer. Do you ever see Calvin moving up to 155 and giving that a go?
I mean, that's right now the goal is the belt, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to get that belt at 145. That's the goal. But I mean, I could see a scenario where, let's say we were here. Let's say we go and we start Max in 1 minute. We hit him with the jab. He falls down. We TKO him on the ground, and the fight's over. And then all of a sudden Dustin gets sick. Like, yeah, or Conor pulls out. Like, yeah, there's a scenario where we could say, yeah, we'll jump up to 55 if it's good money and it makes sense. And it's a good opportunity. Or if, like, let's say we start Max and there's no title fight anytime soon, and then they were like, hey, we want you to jump up and fight like a Dustin or someone, like someone that we think like would be a fun fight that would get him paid a lot, and it wouldn't affect his ranking at 145, like while we're waiting for a title shot. Like, yeah, like also I won't say it's not something that we'll never do, but it's definitely something that isn't on our minds right now, because the goal is the belt at 145. It's trying to be, trying to be the best 145er in the world and crack that pound for pound ranking. And I think a win over Max Holloway puts Calvin in the title picture, and that's the goal right now. But down the road, who's to say what could or couldn't happen? And same thing with Rob. Like he's a big 35er, so he's in that position right now where who the hell knows what's going to happen with him next. If a short notice opportunity came up at 45 and it got him a nice new deal, like we'd be stupid not to consider it. But right now the goal for him is to try to get that TJ fight, and we'll see where these guys go. I think in the next few weeks a lot of things will shake out, and we'll kind of have a clearer picture of what the next 2 months look like.
And then finally, just to have confirmation that there will be a limited number of fans at the fight, how great is that for you guys to have a bit of an atmosphere in comparison to where you were with the Ige fight last year?
No, it's exciting. I'm super pumped. I can't wait to be warming up in the locker room and hear the cheers of the other fights that are happening in the screens. And when you're under there, you're under the bleachers, well, it's not bleachers, it's arena, but you know what I mean? You can kind of hear the crowd rumbling. You hear it over in the roof. You kind of hear the vibrations and the people jumping up and down. You hear the screaming and the clapping. It's awesome. And then the walkout is much better. I'm excited, man. I hope these guys are loud. I hope they say Kattar, not Kattar. Even if they're booing us, I just boo loud, like let us hear you. And
yeah,
it's going to be exciting. It's going to be, it'll almost be a tease, because when we go back to the States, we're going to be fighting with no fans again. So super grateful that they're letting some fans come in, and I just hope we put on a good show and they're clapping at the end.
Well, Tyson, I'm going to let you enjoy your dinner and the rest of the day, but I really appreciate your time, man, and the best of luck to you all. You're all killing it with the New England Cartel. I'm sure 2021 is going to be as good, if not better, than 2020 for you guys.
I appreciate it, brother. Have a great day.
Thank you, man. You too. See you in a bit.